Hello everyone and good morning to you all. Welcome back to our broadcast today on the topic of child rights protection and welfare. On today's topic, I'll be talking about how professionals, parents, caregivers, and the communities as a whole can respond to child abuse cases responsibly. If you are in a situation that you don't have knowledge of what the cause of the problem is, no matter what is happening at all, if you don't have the knowledge of what the cause of the problem is, you are likely not to also have idea or knowledge on how you can bring solution to solve that problem. So I am going to take you through this topic today so that you can be more knowledgeable, more educated, I'll say that, and more equipped on how you as an individual can respond to this child rights abuse anytime they happen around you. And I also want to say that when it comes to protecting the rights of a child, it is not just the duty of an individual. It takes oneness, unison of a community, a global unison, to be able to carry out a proper child right protection. And that is why I am going to be touching your responsibility as a child right protection, as your responsibility as a parent, that is the family which the child comes from, then the caregiver, then the community as a whole. So one of the most important things you should always have in mind these are the practical guide for you as a professional, how you can respond to child right abuse responsibly, is that you should always prioritize empathy. You prioritize empathy by always remembering that behind every headline, because this has to do with what is happening from the media, what you see on the social media, what you see on the news, or what is happening around you. So remember that behind every headline is a child and family experiencing trauma. For instance, the cases of the Ochina girl. We all know what the mother of that child is going through. So when you want to handle a situation concerning any child right abuse, you have to consider it. You have to prioritize empathy at all times. You understand that a family is going through trauma, a child is going through trauma at that moment. The second thing you should always do, that is your responsibility as a professional, is you have to always have a verified information. You cross-check facts before sharing or acting or reporting on any child right abuse case. Then the third one is you ought to maintain confidentiality at all times. There are some people that when this case happens, you are not meant to expose the identity for security purpose. So you avoid repeating details that could expose or stigmatize the individual or even stigmatize the child, he is himself. Okay, so the next one is make sure you use cases as a learning opportunities at all times. You learn from, you reflect on systemic gaps revealed by coverage, and you advocate for stronger policies. What I'm trying to say is that you look into, you reflect on which policy needs to be, needs to be advocated for stronger, which policy needs to be advocated for stronger stand, which policy needs to, need more solid ground to be able to protect a child. What failed? What went wrong? So you use cases like that. Like I like to use myself as an example. The only reason that made me to leave my mother when I lost my dad as a child to go live with a family whereby I experienced all manner of child rights abuse, child rights deprivation, was because of lack of resources for me to be able to go to a better school. That was the only reason that my own mother could allow me out of her sight. And she was crying that day. Because sometimes it's not the will of the parents to let their children out of their sight. And she was also even on the sick bed with my 3 younger brothers who had to care for at that moment. So it wasn't easy for her. So what I'm trying to say is that sometimes the cause of why a parent might not be able to care for their children sometimes needs to be, can be looked into by the professionals. That's what I'm trying to say. The root cause of what lead to the abuse. For instance, it is very wrong to leave a child with a parent with mental health issues that could harm the child, or a parent with substance abuse. It is very wrong that such a parent is allowed to raise a child, because nothing good will come out of such child care. The person might harm that child. But if as a professional you know this case and you look into it by getting help, psychological help, medical help for such a parent, by so doing, you will realize that you are able to save that child from being abused by the parent or the adult, or that particular adult. And you are also saving the adult to be available to care for that child henceforth. So that's for using cases as a learning opportunities. The next one you should do is that you collaborate well, responsibly with the media people. So in this case, when possible, you provide expert input to guide responsible reporting, not reckless reporting. Work with experts. My mentor says that this year he is revamping his two organizations, and what he's doing this year, the kind of people he's working with, he's working with professionals, he's working with experts, and they are giving, and is satisfied with the job delivered, with the rebranding of his companies. So that's what we are talking about. We provide experts to guide responsible reporting. Then we have let's talk about how parents, that is for you as a professional. Now is how parents, you as a parent, you as a caregiver, how you can respond to child rights abuse cases responsibly. Number one is you have to stay informed. not overwhelmed. So you are doing this by you read the news, the headlines, to understand the full context of what is actually the problem, that this thing happened or that this thing can happen. It's not what you guess. Have a full information. Be informed, not be overwhelmed. But sometimes when these things happen, there is always noise. Everybody's always saying something different things. But you, as a parent, as a caregiver, your responsibility is that you make sure you stay informed with the right information, not overwhelmed by the wrong information. Then the second responsibility you should carry out is you discuss with children carefully. Because these children, we are in the era whereby children have access to the internet. We are in the tech world now. Young kids have access to the internet. They also hear. So if children get to know about or hear about child abuse cases, for instance, rape cases that claim the life of another child, that can be too much for another child to actually know, listen to, or be aware of. Because sometimes as parents, you have to shield your children from some traumatic experiences and all that. So what you do as a caregiver and as a parent is that you are to explain in age-appropriate ways without instilling fear into these children. You explain that situation that way. Okay? The next one is that you should support prevention efforts. The prevention is better than cure. So you as a caregiver, as a parent, as a family, you ought to support preventive efforts. You get involved in local child protection initiatives or awareness campaigns, because it is your responsibility. You as an adult, you must be a safe place that a child can rely on all the time. You don't be a threat to a child. You don't be the danger that is fashioned against a child. So that is one of the way you can respond to this thing responsibly. The third one is that, the fourth one on my list is that you have the right to challenge harmful narratives about these things. That means you speak up when media coverage, when there are wrong news, they are unfairly stigmatizing a community. The media is carrying wrong news about child rights abuse in their community and is stigmatizing your community. You have the right to challenge harmful narratives. You have the right to say, no, this happens, this didn't happen. We prioritize child rights care here. So this didn't happen in case of anything. And the last on the list is that you should always model compassion. You show children how empathy and action can make a difference in the real life sense. Because you are the closest person to that child. You are the closest person to those children. So that is how you can help a child and respond responsibly about child rights abuse cases. And do you also know that I'm sure that we adults, we have all heard of different child right abuse cases, different, cases that have put children under the circumstances that sometimes claims the life of the child. But that being said, you have to learn from these cases, this thing that occurred, that claimed the right of a child, that put the child in danger, that made it things that led to things that harm the child, either physically, mentally, psychologically, or emotionally, or even the life of that child as a whole. So these are called lessons learned from past incidents. They are lessons learned. They are lessons that should be learned from past incidents, because when reflecting on child protection cases, it is paramount to derive lessons that informed future practices. You learn from it so that the future practices of child rights protection can be informed. This also can affect policy making that would better the life of a child, and public awareness efforts when you look into what happened in the past incidents. It will strengthen these angles. So each incident, irrespective of how it happens, irrespective of its outcome, it offers a unique learning curve for professionals, families, and communities. So you don't just look away because it happened and you sweep it away. You have to learn from it. You have to learn from what needs to be done better, what policy needs to be strengthened, what policy needs to be dropped, and which is safe for the child. Another word is there. There should be an holistic assessment in assessment. Yes, holistic assessment is crucial when it comes to child rights cases. These cases have underscored the significance of comprehensive evaluation of a child environment. So it's not just identifying a signal, a single problem or risk, but you ought to also understand the complete picture and other influencing factors. So by so doing, we are not being narrow-minded about it, because a narrow lens can miss a subtle indicator of abuse or neglect in the life of a child. So there ought to be a holistic assessment when it comes to child rights care. So the next one is multidisciplinary collaboration in carrying out these acts, because many tragic incidents occur due to lack of communication among professionals. That's what I'm saying, is take a global unison, a global mindset, one-mindedness to be able to, carry out, to tackle the problems affecting child rights. So the professionals, educators, social workers, and law enforcement officers have to work in unison, sharing critical information and providing a holistic support system for the child. So the next thing here I want to talk about is when it comes to child protection, it is an evolving field. So there should be a continuous training and upgradation, because as the society changes, so do challenges that these children are going to face as they are developing. So past incidents have taught us that importance of outgoing training for professionals, staying abreast of new research, emerging threats like cyberbullying. There's such thing as cyberbullying happening to children, either is among the peer group or from an adult somewhere. So when you train professionals on what is the trending way that children are being abused, they'll be more abreast to new research. So there should be continuous training and upgradation in the professional sector of child rights organization. So the next thing that is very paramount is to engage communities, because several incidents reveal that neighbors or community members had concern, but they did not know. That's what I'm saying. If you don't really know if you don't have the knowledge of what the solution of a problem could be, you cannot solve it. You cannot bring that solution forth to solve that problem. Okay? So community members may have this concern, but they do not know how to act on them. They don't know how to solve that problem. For instance, if community members are educated on family support, family empowerment, especially to vulnerable families or widows, I'm not sure any woman like my mom would choose to let a child go, knowing that that's dangerous, to go live with another family that she doesn't even know. So if community members have the knowledge of how they can empower themselves, this will be advantage. So when you train community members, they will know how to tackle issues on the community base. So this can lead to engaging community members, can lead to community-based program. There should be community-based program. There should be an educating platform that can educate the public on signs of abuse and neglect, then providing clear channel for reporting concerns in the community sector. So those are some of the things that need to be put in place. That is the responsibility of a community, the professional, the state, and all that. You as an individual. The next one is that policies need to be revisited and refined. Some policies are just that are punishments. Some policies in some certain environments are punishment to some certain children. Yes, there should be an holistic revisiting and refining of child rights policies, because this thing has sometimes pointed out that gaps or ambiguities in child protection policies have not been revisited. They keep carrying on. They keep carrying on practices that are harming children. For instance, there are still some communities, practicing female mutilation. Some are still practicing child marriages. some are still practicing the putting the male child above the female child. So what I'm trying to say is that the female child belongs to where they call to the kitchen, then to the childbearing. The female child belongs to the backyard. The female child is not allowed to explore the world and all that. Even if the world has gone beyond that, but there's still community practicing that thing. That particular practice is putting pressure and punishment and abusing the female children. Yes. So policies need to be revisited and refined. They need to update them to ensure they are watertight, clear, and actionable. Some policies in some communities need to be revisited, honestly. Like where I come from, I spoke to one of my cousins. That was on December period. I know that it's not, I don't know, I think it's the educational background is not solid, or if it's the mindset. He told me he wants to have more than 15 children, that he has 4 already. I asked him, so how would you pay the school fees of all these children you want to give birth to? He said that the government of where he lives, the states where he's from, has put in the system that when you have plenty children, they will give your children scholarship through education to the university level. So when he was talking, I just know that this is just lack of knowledge, because a particular government is, the tenure of a particular government is, highest a government can stay in the tenure, let's say 8 years. That is, it will serve the first 4 years, then the second 4 years if he is elected again. So when the next government comes, it's likely to come with another policy, probably removing the policy that the previous one has put. So if you are caught up, how do you take care of your family? And I also I hate to ask, because I know very well that childbearing tells a lot on a woman. It changes everything about that woman, her health, everything. You that you have been there, if you are listening to me, know what I'm talking about. For instance, I have a sister. She has 2 kids. I know that she's not that person that I used to know. When I visited her, I saw all what she's going through. I would tell her, look, I'm here, just rest. These children are something else. She's not even getting herself. She has changed. Yes, the thing has changed her. So I told her, these few days I'm here, rest, relax. But she was never like that. So I asked this man that, what about your wife? Don't you care about her health? Will she still be strong enough? Will she still be strong as a woman? The response I got was so heartbreaking, because he said that it's only a woman that does not see food to eat that will be weak because of childbearing. So wow. You don't care about her old age as she will be. You are still there jumping and doing boy. You don't care about her 9 months or how many? You are talking about 15. And when you say the woman that is a woman that does not see food to eat that will be weak because of childbearing. When one childbearing can weaken a woman. And when you look at you don't even have the knowledge of what it takes to, feed this woman with nutritional meal. Because I've been there in their house. I was there in their house for 2 weeks. To tell you the truth, I came back because of the kind of food. I was there as a guest. I came back after 2 weeks. I landed in the hospital for stomach problem because the kind of thing I was being fed. Yes, stomach problem. And they have to actually thank God for a doctor that came down from Ukraine to our house then. He bought me this strong medication, to flush out my system. I would have died. So that is what the woman, that's the kind of food they are saying the woman is seen to eat. How will she stay strong? She will just be cautious. When I just know how many children she has given birth to already, I was already imagining that she's already a weak woman. So those are some things, because she's a woman. And some families don't see anything wrong with this. So I'm talking right now based on family policy, based on mindsets. Because of some policies put in some communities have formed some people's mindsets and is harmful to some certain gender, and sometimes is favorable to the other gender. And this policy are the policy that needs to be revisited and refined in certain communities. So another word I will talk about is cultural sensitivity. Yes, because not all child protection concerns manifest the same way across different cultures. So when it comes to past cases have emphasized the need for culturally sensitive approach, yes, to ensure that interventions are appropriately and respectfully, okay for the cultural norms while ensuring the child's safety. Yes, because it's like you as a Christian, you want to enter, you're trying to penetrate the life of an unbeliever. You're trying to tell this person about the Jesus Christ, our Lord, and all that. You have to know what is this person's stand when it comes to giving his or her life to Christ. Do you understand? You have to know what is his stand. You don't just go there and start fighting the person. You are a sinner. You are a sinner. No, you are not going to get anything by doing that. You can still lead this person to Christ by still honoring who they are. And when they come to Christ, their life will be formed. You don't go into the cultural environment to cause havoc because you are trying to save some certain set of children that the cultural norms there is suppressing. So you still can save. You have to be sensitive to cultural norms while going into some environments. For instance, environment with the mindset that the female children belong to the backyard, underground. The environment that says that there must be child marriage. There must be child marriage. The environment that supports female mutilation and all that. Even in a modern home, there are some families that believe that the first child will carry the load. Think about that. When you do that to your first child, think about it. If you were the one, how is it that you want that child to be the one to carry the load of all the other children you have? That is everybody. When it comes to a family, everybody has responsibility to carry. It's a collective effort. Don't say because you are the first child, you must do all the things to make sure everything is good, well in the house. No, sometimes I see that thing as a punishment on the first child. As you are teaching the first child, teach the younger ones. Make things, train them in their age appropriate way, so that whatever the first child is learning, the second, the third, whatever many children you want to have, even if I'm not in support of so many children because of the way the school fees, feeding, hospital bills going, I'm not in support of that. I'm not in support of you giving birth to a child knowing that you can barely care for yourself. I'm not in support of that. To me, it's like a wicked person. To me, you are bringing a child to come and suffer. God did not ask you to do that. To me, I don't think that pleases God in any way. Because if you cannot stand for yourself, you can't even stand up for others. So why bring a child? So I'm talking about families that have the mindset that the first child must be all in all, while others cross leg and road. That's very wrong. That's very wrong. They are going to raise some kind. When you do that to your child, you're going to raise an adult that will be different from what you did not want to raise, what you do not, what we wouldn't want. The person will grow to be in some certain ways that it might even become a problem in the family. The person will keep reminding you there are some firstborn hating their parents today. That you did this to me, you suffered me, this and that. There are some firstborn like that. So that is actually wrong. So that mindset, if you want to approach it and be sensitive to the culture and norms of that environment. Your goal is to make sure you save a child. Your goal is not to cause a riot or World War III in somebody's community or in somebody's house or family. That's not your goal. Your goal is how can you give a better life to that child that you see that is going through what is called abuse of any form. So always have that in mind. Then the last one I love the list is that, gone are those days that adults don't listen to children. Listening to children is part of what we should do. You listen to children. Because sometimes cases have happened that listening to children, was the problem. Lack of inability for you to listen to a child complain, a child's complaints, a child body language, a child pain. You are not listening. So in various instances, children attempt to express themselves or their concern or discomfort, but the adult responsible at that point was not given a proper consideration. So you have to acknowledge the child's voice. But when you do this, you will ensure that they are aware of their worries. So you show them that you are aware of their worries, that you can help them. It's one of the fundamental principles in modern child protection. The idea of telling yourself, shall we shut up your mouth? If you do, that era is out. Not now. You can't raise the children of this generation like that. You have to listen to them. Alright? I will end here today because of time. I'm supposed to take 30 minutes and I've used more than 30 minutes. It's because, as I always say, I respect the capacity of the human brain to listen to a class, especially something new. If you are learning something new, it stresses your brain more. So I can't stress you more than 30 minutes. So that you can, even if you are not here with me live, when you see this message, you know that it was a 30 minutes message. You can listen to it without sleeping on me, please. Do not sleep on me. So thank you very much. Please do well to share this information because it is needed. Comments on, let me know what your thought is on the comment section. And do well to also speak to people about what you've been learning on this platform with me. And also, I am on YouTube at Rebecca Udom-Udofia. I am also on Instagram, Rebecca Udom for real. I'm also on TikTok and Facebook as Rebecca Udom-Udofia, sharing this same thing on child rights protection. So I want to say thank you very much, and also we are open for you if you want to volunteer to partner with us to donate into the organization Rebecca Udom Foundation so that we can help children. That's what we do, helping vulnerable children and supporting empowering vulnerable families. If God is touching you to support us, be our volunteer or our partners, you can reach out to us on any of those platforms. I want to say thank you very much for always tuning us to be with us. Do have a wonderful day.